In this video then guys, we shall be taking a look at the 1986 adventure drama movie Stand By Me, in which is based off the novella by Stephen King called The Body. So without further ado, let's get into today's review. Let's get into it. So I thought then that this movie is an absolute cult classic of the 80s and is one of the best 80s movies of all time in my personal opinion. And to me, a movie about a dead body being found by kids doesn't seem that entertaining. Just four people looking for a dead body, wanting to see a dead body for the first time, seems a bit weird, bit creepy, bit whatever. But Stephen King's book, the adaptation in this instance, seems to mix in Stephen King's creepiness and his weirdness and make it into an entertaining movie. So hats off to him, because if it weren't for Stephen King writing that book, I think it would have been completely, this movie wouldn't exist, and the entertaining movie that we know to this day wouldn't be there. As it sort of mixes comedy with a bit of horror, that the horror side being chased down by a gang, being intimidated by bullies and things like that, and the fact that they're looking for a dead body, but mixing it with comedy and mixing it with a lot of drama. I think it makes for an amazing movie, and that's what this shows. It has everything that you want. It has a good soundtrack all the way through. It has unbelievably good actors and actresses in this particular movie. So yeah, I think this movie is the complete package, and that is what makes it a cult classic in my eyes. I think this is also referenced in many pop culture movies and TV shows of the modern day, like Family Guy, in which have imitated and done their own spoof of this particular movie with the train scene, as they cover it in one of their episodes. And they cover Stand By Me of them doing the ultimate train dodge at the end. And I think it is great. And obviously you would have heard of this scene before, as it's one of the biggest cinematic scenes from a movie, and is well known. And I think this has been spoofed many other times as well, and I think if you haven't seen the original version, which is awesome, you will have definitely seen a spoof version without realising, as it's such a big scene in cinema. Moving on then, I thought that the ending was also brilliant, as we saw Vern and Teddy walk away when Ace's group approaches, and Ace approaches with him basically going, move away from the body because we want the fame. And that's what this movie is all about, not really seeing the dead body and feeling what it's like. There is that element of things, but it's not really about that. They just want to go see the body and then report where it is, so then they can become famous, and the rest of it for finding this body that was that had been wiped off by a train. And I think that is what makes this movie a bit weird and a bit dramatic and things, but I think the ending is what shows it up to be the title and why we're watching this awesome movie, as we see when Ace's gang are there ready to go hands on and take the body with them. I think that's when we find that where the title comes from, as we see Gordy and Chris stand up against Ace's gang, and Gordy points a gun at the main leader, Ace, and I think that was special, as it showed this was more than just getting the rights to the body. It was more of the respect side of things, as his brother died and things like that. And I think that is what brought this movie together, and that everybody stands together against bullies and things, and stands together against anybody. And those two stood up against Ace, who was holding a knife against them. And I think that was good, and I think that made it all the more special, as Ace's gang then went away after the gun was pointed at Ace, and Ace realised that how Gordy was pointing that he was deadly serious about what he was going to do. So that's the thing then. And then the end, it reveals what happens to all of the characters, but then it says that they phoned in where the body was in an anonymous phone call, so that nobody could get the credit for it, as he realised it was none of them deserved the recognition for finding the body and the fame that came with it, as it was just different. And something that I really like about this movie towards the end of the movie, It's where they say you're never going to have friends like these at any age after, I think it was like the age of 12. And I think I agree with that. I think that made a lot of sense. And to me, from experience, I think that is true. I think you have the best friends when you are younger. You had the best group when you were younger, but then as you get older, you don't get that same group again. And I think, yeah, it showed a brotherhood. And although, and at the end of the movie, it says that most of them moved, that stopped talking to each other after that, mostly. But him, who is the narrator, Gordy, and Stephen stay in sort of contact, or stay sort of closer to each other, know what each other's about. And yeah, I think it was a fantastic ending to this iconic movie. I also think that the soundtrack was unbelievably good. Stand By Me, the tune by Benny King, is absolutely outstanding and made not only this movie famous, but it also made the song yet again famous and probably put it back up in the charts, because to me, I knew this song from watching this movie, and then then you sort of get into that song more and more. And I think it's not just that song, there was a few others in there, but this one's the main title, and I love this song. Played at the end, and it just summed up the entire movie. It showed the emotions that you felt watching this movie, and is an absolute classic of a song mixed in with this classic cult movie. Finally then, the actors and actresses were amazing, as we saw the likes of River Phoenix, we saw the likes of Corey Feldman, we saw the likes of John Cusack, we saw the likes of Jerry O'Connell, Kiefer Sutherland, Gary Riley, Richard Dreyfuss, Bruce Kirby, and Casey Siemaszko. To summarise this movie then, guys, I think that this movie was awesome and one of the best 80s movies of all time, hence why I rate this movie an 8.6 out of 10 and a classic film. So let me know down in the comments down below whether you agree, you disagree, whether you don't like it, whether you love it. Let me know down in the comments down below. Please, also, if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to be alerted to all the new content that this channel creates, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Laters.